Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Anjanette Speaks. I am your host, Anjanette Wilson, and I am here today to talk to you about seasonal affective disorder. How is everyone today? How is your Sabbath? It's my Sabbath, but the Lord is gracious because I actually had to work today. But I am here to talk to you guys and inform you of some things. As you know, I am a mental health advocate, and so I became one because of my own mental health struggles and suffering in silence. But we'll get to my story at some point. However, I wanted to welcome you. Thank you for sitting down. Grab you some pen, paper, get you some coffee, tea, or whatever you drink, and let's get into it. So first of all, we want to say thank you to Endure Entertainment. Want to shout out the television radio show that I am broadcasting from. Miss Falana and Johnny are some great people. We have a great team and we are exploding. We are blowing up. We have several different talents on the channel. And we are excited to bring on more talents so that we can talk about things that plague our community, that when you leave this channel, you know that you have gotten clean entertainment. However, you have been informed and you have been inspired. So again, I want to welcome you to Anjanette Speaks, the real, the raw, and the inspiring. All right, so as I stated, we are with Endure Entertainment, and I wanted to make sure that you guys, I was waiting on a couple of more people to come on before I started. Let me make sure I can get some people on. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Get some people on here. Do a little advertising. That's what we do. All right. So we got some people in. We didn't got the invites going, and it's time to get into it. Again, shout out to Endure Entertainment for allowing me, Anjanette Speaks, to come on and talk about the real, the raw, and the inspiring. So, the reason why I wanted to talk about seasonal affective disorder is because it's the holidays and people get really depressed during the holidays. Some people get depressed because they have lost loved ones, especially during the time where we had COVID last year and it was so many people lost their sisters and cousins and mothers. So, for those of you that are still grieving, my heart goes out to you. I offer my condolences for your grieving process. I pray that the Lord sends you comfort in your time of bereavement. For those that you are missing loved ones, maybe perhaps your mother or father has passed away a while back. And you are just not feeling the holidays. I hope that this helps you understand some of the things that happen to you mentally and physiology. For your body, I can't say the word. When things like when the seasons change, there's actual something to that. So a lot of people are not informed on what seasonal affective disorder is, which is called S.A.D. And a lot of people aren't really familiar with it. And the reason why they're not familiar with it is because nobody ever told them what SAD was, right? And so we want to make sure that you know what that means and what it, what it looks like to you. Okay. So SAD, and I'm going to read it. SAD, this is an article from the Mayo Clinic. So we want to give them a shout out for having some very informative information. I read a lot of articles, but this one was the most informative. Seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression that is related to the changes in season. It's called SAD. It begins and ends at the same time every year. So we're going to identify those cycles in your life where you're sad, during the same time every year. If you're like people with SAD, your symptoms start at the fall, right? And they continue into the winter months. Spring, you're sapping your energy, you're making you feel moody, less often. SAD causes depression, and the spring and the summertime, you kind of come out of it. Okay, so that is what SAD is. You get sad during the wintertime, and that's okay. So that they used to call it seasonal depression, but now we have a name for it. I am not a psychologist. I am not a licensed LPC. I do know some, and I do have friends that are. However, I am talking and speaking from my own experience with seasonal affective disorder. So, in my own season for several years, um, 7, 8 years. Probably since I've been to San Antonio, even before that. But I can remember identifying something was wrong, and especially during the time of winter. Whenever the time changed and it was light outside, it wasn't light outside anymore. Oh my goodness. My mood would change. I became irritable. I became upset all the time. I became sad. I couldn't eat, or I overate. I slept all the time through the winter months. I cried on Christmas, cried on Thanksgiving. I had to go to the family's house and get my cry on before I left. And it was a really uncomfortable situation. It made me feel I dreaded the winter months because I knew that I was going to be sad those winter months, right? And then I realized what it was. I kept looking it up, and I didn't really have any information on it. So probably in the last 6, 7 years, I've started to get information on it. And so the seasonal affective disorder is actually a thing. And the daylight savings time does affect some people's mental stability, their mental mood. It affects their well-being. It affects the way they think, because there's no sunlight. And people with melanin, we lack a very important vitamin called vitamin D, which is what we get from the sun. But because we have melanin, it doesn't absorb the rays from the sun, which provides vitamin D. And so we're also vitamin D deficient as well. So if we are vitamin D deficient as well, and we are suffering from any type of other mental illness, it's going to increase a lot. You're going to feel it, right? And so vitamin D would help us with the depression. That's why a lot of people don't know what their vitamin D level is probably low. And that's why they are suffering from depression as well. So back to SAD, when I used to be, well, before I got on medicine in 2019, I used to have to figure out what ways I could use to help me manage, because I was going through it. And I'm talking about when you cry in the morning, and I'm a functional person with depression. So I'm at work, I'm crying on the way to work, dry my tears off, I'm ready. Cry on the way to somewhere, or go off to myself and cry, because I was so sad about just the weather. I didn't really attribute it to the weather. I attribute it to the fact that when I was little, we had a big family. In my grandmother's house when I was little, I remember being in prayer at Thanksgiving, and literally we had to wrap around my grandmother's house, not outside, but the inside, and lock hands. That's how many people we had in our family. And then the next year, between that time and the next year, everybody was gone. All my grandmother's aunts, all our cousins, everybody, they were gone. They were gone. They had passed away. So when I got to the next summer, the next winter, there was no Aileen. There was no, my grandmother passed. My great grandmother passed. I think my great grandfather was still here. We significantly lost a lot of people. And then now I think it's only our immediate family. It's probably like 7 or 8 of us, and that's just the adults, not including the children, and it's not that many. So for me, it was so depressing. So when I got older, I attributed depression to the fact that I didn't like the holidays because I didn't have a big family. And then I married into a big family. And so I felt a little bit better during the holidays. And I definitely understood. I said, oh, yeah, this is what it is, that, I don't have a big family and I, want to be around people during the holidays. When I got a little bit older, I realized that even with the big family, I was still having some issues. I was still going through some things, even with that, right? And so I was thinking to myself, like, what is going on? How can I make this function? How can I make this work? Right? Thinking, what is happening? And so I'm like, man. So what I did, I looked it up. And I went to look up to see what was going on, what I could do about it. Well, I found out that during my cycle of being depressed during the wintertime had really maybe something to do with people passing away, but a lot to do with the fact that the season had changed and it is affecting my mental stability, my mental health. So if you have SAD or you think you have SAD or there's an onset of SAD because your people passed away during this time and you just don't see the holidays the same or whatever, I'm going to help you understand that this could be a situation as well. So you are feeling depressed most of the day, nearly every day. During this time, every year, I used to dread September. Oh God, September, October. By the time I got to Halloween, I was like, oh my goodness, this is about to be. And I'm already bracing myself for it. I can't get out of the bed. I don't eat, or either I overeat. I have no energy, enough energy to take the kids to school, go to work, come home. Like nothing, no energy. Having problems with sleep, and I had insomnia, up all night, looking like. Then I would go to bed, right? And I would sleep like all weekend long. Um, Experiencing changes in my appetite and my weight. My weight always fluctuates 20 pounds. Either I'm 180 or 200, 180 or 200. Because during the time, like, I couldn't wait till the time changed. I didn't care about losing an hour. What I cared about is it's going to be light outside and it don't get light till 9 o'clock. Like, ooh. But when it got light at 6, oh God, it was horrible. So of course my weight fluctuated because I was either not eating a lot or not eating a lot or eating too much. And then I felt sluggish, very agitated, things of that nature, like very agitated. I felt very agitated. Somebody is calling me, y'all. Baby, I'm online. If you was online, you know I was online. Okay? I'm online. I don't know what, y'all. I hope everything is all right, but y'all need to tune in. I'm online. I'm talking about something right now. All right. So, feeling sluggish is, and agitated, when you're depressed and you feel bad, it's like, what? What? Especially with kids. Oh my God. It's like, can I do that? No, you don't want to do anything, right? You don't want to do nothing. You don't want nobody calling you. You don't want nobody talking to you. Nothing. Having difficulty concentrating. That's a big one, especially at work. I had a lot of problems during the wintertime. Let me tell you something. Every time I got wrote up at work, it was September, October. Every time I quit a job, it's September, October. The first time I got fired from a job was October 31st. They're cycles. If we sit down and realize some of the cycles in our life, I'm not saying everything is tied to mental illness. That's not what I'm saying at all. But for those of us that fits this, if you have times in your life where you are very sad, and it's usually during the holidays or during this time of year, you need to look into and pay attention to that cycle and pay attention to how you feel during the spring, the summer. As soon as fall comes, you can just feel it. You just feel it coming on down. And so this is something that you need to look into, because your doctor can treat this for that time. You know what I mean? And then when you're feeling better, you need to talk to your doctor about this. Okay. So you would feel feelings of hopelessness, guilt, like things that, like, say for instance, you had like a child that you haven't, been in their life, and you're a father, and you just start like thinking about all the things you could have did wrong, right, and better, and oh my God, or you feeling like you're not successful, or you're feeling guilty because of a parent or something, anything, right? You got a lot going on. And so I would say to you that even in that, there are things that we can do to make ourselves feel better. So, one thing I'm going to tell you about is what happens, what's going on with us biologically, that we need to recognize is happening. So, I'm going to read it to you. So, the reduced level of sunlight in the fall and the winter may have it's the reason for the onset. It's literally lack of sunlight, literally lack of vitamin D. It's sun, the light. It exposes the darkness, right? We feel safe in the light. We feel like we can get things done when it's light, right? When it's dark, it's time to go to sleep. It's time to rest. And our mind says it's time to go to sleep. We're tired, right? When it's light, we don't have that issue. When it's light, we're like, oh, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out. We're going to we're going to the gym. I'm going to play basketball. I'm doing this. But when it's cold and rainy and dark, it's just so drab and depressing. And also, I remember a cousin of mine, I think he was stationed in the military in Washington. Washington has like the highest rate of suicide back probably 10 years ago, based on the fact that S.A.D, um, we probably didn't know what it was, right? Or, in Texas, we didn't know. I'm going to say that. I didn't know. But they were saying that, when the seasons change and it's really rainy there all the time, they have a lot of suicide rates. So the decrease in sunlight may disrupt the body's internal clock, and leading to feelings of depression. Your serotonin levels drop during the fall because of no sunlight. Amazing. So, do you see how God created us to be in tune with the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars? The sun gives off rays of vitamin D, which, when it's not light, there's a lot of depression. Do you see the correlation there? Yeah. So your serotonin levels are low. You reducing the reduce in serotonin levels may trigger onset of depression. Melatonin levels. The change in seasons can disrupt the body's balance of melatonin, which plays a role in your sleep patterns. Isn't that amazing? Y'all, I was reading this. I was like, this is more than what I knew, right? Also, family history. This is me. So the family history with S.A.D may be more likely to have blood relatives with S.A.D or depression. Right. So on my father's side, depression, any type, really mental illness, period, is just running on his side of the family. And so for us, and those of us that are related, our cousins and stuff like that, brothers, sisters, depression is in our family history, right? And so we have to really be careful how we move when we are knowing that we're depressed, or if we are affected by S.A.D, seasonal affective disorder, right? If we're affected by it, we would know. We get sad during this time, we really need to pay attention and do some things that'll help us. So, if you have major depression already, like I have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder. So if I have it already, then S.A.D would definitely affect it even more if I'm not taking, medication and doing the things that I need to do to make sure that I get the sunlight I need. Where would I notice that sad would affect me in my normal day-to-day life? So if you're withdrawn, right? And you're usually out and about and going. When you're withdrawn, you're probably during this time, oh, it's cold. I don't want to go outside. But then you really want to go, but it's like, oh, you're just feeling bad. You're feeling detached. You're feeling uh empty, hopeless, no direction, no focus. You feeling those things, you feeling burdened like with life, during this time. You think, well, I'm just doing a lot of thinking, I'm doing a lot of reevaluating myself. A lot of that, you just sad. You just sad. You just sad. Um, So it can be some complications with this. Is you'll be socially withdrawn, have problems at school or work. I know I have. I've been written up during the sad times. I've been fired during the times I was sad. I just by the time they notice the decline, right? So I'm kicking butt all during after what about March. I'm good. It starts to get light again. I'm out. I'm good. Numbers are popping. Everything's going good. By the time September comes, I'm on the decline. And I can fight through it sometimes, and sometimes it beats me. So if you have any of these symptoms during this time, you would need to contact your doctor. Now, I'm going to share a couple of things with you that I do to help manage SAD. One thing I want you to be conscious of is that depressed people, especially those of us that function in depression, we don't always like to recognize that we're depressed, and sometimes we don't really, we're going so much we don't really see it. One thing that tells me that I'm really depressed is my house is really messy. Now, I'm not an organized neat freak at all. However, there are times that I like my house nice and neat. There are other times that I'm just not feeling it, and I don't care. I don't wash clothes, or maybe I get distracted washing one or two loads or something. But that's when I can look around and be like, "Ooh, I don't feel good." I need to find out what I can do. So the first thing I do, say for instance, I'm at home on a Saturday. I've noticed that when I'm depressed or if I'm in a trigger moment, a lot of my triggers come from my children, my money, or my relationships. So if me and my ex breaks up, me and my significant other, we break up, have a break, whatever you call it, right? I'm really sad. Or if I paid all my bills and I can't go shopping, I'm really sad. Because I think shopping has become like a little feel good to me. Um, Even if it's something small, like I like candles, right? So I'll just go buy a candle. And if I can't because I'm on a budget, it'll make me sad. And if I'm not getting along with my children, or if I, feel like something, our relationship is suffering, or we're into an argument or whatever, um, I'm sad, right? So there have been times on a Saturday I'm in the bed. So when I'm aware of depression, that it's there and that I need to start to manage it, I open up all my blinds. And so there's a light that actually like kind of mimics the vitamin D, but I use lamps. You can buy one if you'd like. I'm sure you can get them off Amazon, but I just use lamps. So those lamps at Walmart, they like have like this tier. So they have these lamps here, lamp here, lamp here. Or you have the tall one with the little raised, the little bowl. It's real cheap, inexpensive, like $14 or something. I put those in the corners of my house. Turn them on. And you turn on the ceiling fan, turn on the light, open up the blinds, get some light in the house. Depression is a dark place. The minute that you start, and remember, we're not going to negate the fact that it's not a spirit, right? I just come from a very practical place, but please understand that it's a spirit as well. So open up the blinds, right? Now, I have a daughter that lives with me and she likes it dark. Well, whatever, I don't like it dark. So it bothers me if baby, open the blinds. I have to say, I have depression. I need the blinds open, right? I because I've never admitted that I had depression. I never admitted that I suffer from SAD. I never admitted any of these things. I'm working on that. As I'm talking to you guys and advocating for you and those of us that can't speak, I'm also advocating for myself. So I'm like, hey, I don't like this. I don't like this, right? So I need light. Okay. The next thing that I would say is vitamin D. So for women, you need to, well, anybody, you need to get your vitamin D checked. That's probably the first thing I would do, in addition to opening the blinds and getting lights. If you know that you suffer from depression during this time and this season, you need to check your vitamin D levels. If your vitamin D levels are low, then you probably need to start taking some vitamin D over the counter. I'm going to tell y'all something. For years, I did not want to take medicine. When my son was born, I was diagnosed with depression for the first time. My son's father told on me when we went to a doctor's appointment that I was crying and I was sad and all this. So he gave me some Zoloft. Well, I didn't take it. I took it like 3 times. And then I looked it up that I could take vitamin D. So I started taking vitamin D. And so I was taking vitamin D, and I used to tell the doctors, no, I have it under control because I take vitamin D. However, while yes, you need to know what your levels are so you know how much to take, right? So a vitamin D, it comes in like 1,000 milligram or ICU form. You can get them at Walmart, and we can make sure that you take the vitamin D, but when you have it with your doctor. So what I'm saying is you can go get the vitamin D and then say, hey, I got this vitamin D, right? My levels are low. I got vitamin D, whatever. And how many of these do I take? Typically, if you go to your doctor and your levels are low, they will prescribe you some vitamin D, but it's always good to have some. And just in case you're one of the people like me that don't want to take medicine, or you're somebody that says, I don't like this or that, taking vitamin D is very safe. You just gauge it, right? So if you're feeling this way, you want to look it up and see, see how 2 make you feel, see how 3 makes you feel, see how 4 makes you feel. I'm not a doctor, so I would definitely recommend you go to your doctor, but they sell vitamin D over the counter. Also, walk outside. I know that it's drab and it's ugly, but go outside, get some sun. Even though it is winter, the sun is still doing what God designed it to do, and it is still giving off rays, right, for vitamin D. So go outside. Go talk, go be around light, go somewhere where it's light, right? And when you're at night after 6, 7, 6, 5:30, 6 o'clock, make sure you turn on all those lights in the house. This is going to be an expensive bill, but it's worth it. It's worth your mental health. All right, y'all, I'm going to take a break real quick. And we are going to, I have problems changing to these banners, so y'all forgive me if I don't put it on the right thing. But I'm going to take a break, pay some bills real quick. Again, shout out to Endure Entertainment, the home of clean entertainment. back in business. Thank you for taking a break with me. I hope that you went and grabbed you some water and everything. So here's some things that I want to just, you know how I am. I just talk from my heart because I want to make sure that we understand how serious these times are, right? So a lot of changes going on. We have, COVID-19, which is causing issues, right? We got all these different variants, strands. It's causing stress, causing a lot of anxiety. And I would just encourage you to be responsible for your mental health and be informed, right? What helped me not be in a pine box? Was that I was informed. I knew what was wrong with me. I used to tell the doctors what was wrong with me. They one of my doctors used to call me the internet queen. Okay, internet queen, tell me what you think is wrong with you. Most of the time, I was right. I'm very self aware, and I believe I went through these things to help people like you, to help people around you, somebody that may see this that don't know me, right, or that didn't know that I suffered from these things. Um, I hope that some of the things that I'm telling you helps you. And try your best not to isolate yourself. Now, I'm the queen of isolation. So how dare me tell you not to isolate yourself? But try not to do that in this time of this winter time. I would find hobbies, inside hobbies, things to do. Oh, another thing, aromatherapy. Get you some smell good stuff. It helps a lot, y'all. I just get my stuff from the dollar store. I go to like Family Dollar and I might spend $20 on them $5 candles, but they help so much. So I wanted to make sure I said that. Get some aromatherapy that brings down that stress and anxiety. Another thing is I'm going back to what I was saying, being aware of your mental health and being aware of the cycles in your life will help you manage how to stop those cycles, right? I didn't get written up the last 2 years because I managed the cycles. I saw myself losing interest. I saw myself being lazy. I saw myself wanting to stay home and go to sleep. And I knew exactly what it was because I've identified the cycle in my life. I knew exactly what it was. So for me to know exactly what it is, now what do I need to do? I need to do something about it, right? So I encourage you to do something about it. If that's getting counseling, Google it. That's your friend. If it's, listen, in San Antonio and in other states, they have these state programs, right? If you don't have the money or you don't have a job and you need to go see about something, go to the county hospital. They have stuff for mental health. Mental health is a huge issue in the world right now. Right. So we are trying to get on the front end of this thing that has been happening. In the next 10 years, mental health is going to be a huge thing. Just like homelessness was huge, 15 years ago, everybody was trying to see what people were homeless, help homeless veterans, all that stuff. This is what's going to happen. This is coming up the pipeline because there's a lot of stress in the world and people are needing to learn how to deal with it, right? How to manage it, how to self-talk. I'm trying to manage that as well, like the self-talk. I'm trying to make sure that I manage that. I'm trying to make sure that I don't tell myself or agree with negative things in my life. Right? I don't tell myself, oh, you're just sad, oh, you're nothing, you're lazy, you're just this, or you're a horrible mother, or whatever those things that I have heard that I may come into agreement with. We can't do that. So we have to change our self-talk in this season. And several ways to do that is affirmations. During the time of depression, time of sad, we miss our loved ones. You miss your mom, you miss your father, you miss, people in your life. And you want to make sure that you're not talking to yourself negatively and you have affirmed yourself. I am happy. I am educated. I am joyful. I am loved. I am adored. I love myself. I am healed. I am whole. I am no longer depressed. I am I am aware. I am affirmed. I am loved. I love me. I am enough. You want to write those things down and say those things, you know. I think managing relationships, those things that are triggers for you. I've learned that you may not like some things that people do, right? And you can't control what someone else does. You can't. But you can control what how they do it to you. Because if it's a trigger for you and then you know that you may spiral out of control, then it's not that you don't want to go around those people, but you need to learn how to manage, going around someone that may trigger you, right? And put you in a place in this season in more depression. If if you're depressed, if you have seasonal affective disorder, something may be a trigger for you. What do you need to do? How do you handle that? Well, I'll tell you. You can't control other people, but you can control yourself. And you are responsible for what you allow. And you are responsible for participating in some things that may happen. So, say, for instance, you have a brother that you don't get along with, but it's the holidays and you decide, you know what? As long as he's not drinking, I'm going to be cool. The minute you see that brother get to drinking, get to talking crazy, and you know you're gonna want to pop him in the mouth, and you know you're gonna fit, and you already dealing with this internally that nobody knows about. Get you a plate, fix it, get up, and excuse yourself. It's that simple. It's that simple. We have got to learn to be responsible for ourselves and our own mental health because everybody has their own battle. And it's time out for blaming people for what happened to you. And it's true, like some things did happen, right? And they're real and they did affect you. Yes, they did, right? But we have to learn that living life and living it more abundantly in Christ is taking responsibility and making those changes so that we can live abundantly. We don't have to be sad. We don't have to be in situations that trigger us. But we have to recognize, right, that these are triggers so that we can manage this duration of sadness that we may go through. So I hope that I have helped you today understanding what SAD is, how it affects you, and some tips on how to manage it. Um, I am Anjanette. I have been through managing SAD, and I had to recognize that it gets worse during this time. I mean, I'm having a rough week. Talking about it helps. I have a therapist I talk to, like, because these last 2 weeks has been rough. Okay, and I just want to lay down and go into bed. Right? I almost said I don't want to, I'm going to tell them I can't, do the show or whatever. But I pushed through because I said, you know what? No, somebody probably needs to hear what I'm saying. And so I hope that I helped you today. I hope that on the replay, you may be able to write down some things. If you need me, I am Anjanette in Wilson on Anjanette Speaks on Facebook. I have a YouTube, and Jeanette Speaks. I'm on Endure Entertainment. You can email us. You can inbox me. I will be able to help. I can steer you in the right direction. In the next following weeks, we are going to have an actual LPC on the show. We're going to ask her questions. So if for whatever reason you guys have any questions, please inbox me. Or you can email me at anjnicwilson@gmail.com and put in the subject questions for the counselor. So that I know. And if you have any questions, we're going to be more than happy to help. I'm going to get with the counselor and see when she's available, and I will let you guys know. This has been an edition of Anjanette Speaks. I appreciate you guys watching the real, the raw, and the inspiring. Thank you for watching. You have a wonderful Saturday. Shalom.